So have a great week, and today is the 10th day since the Security Exchange Commission filed very serious criminal charges of fraud against Goldman Sachs. And it's also the 10th day since I called on my opponent, Kirsten Gillibrand, to give back the thousands of dollars that she has pocketed from Goldman Sachs. That money is legalized corruption, and Goldman Sachs stands accused of very serious crimes. We learned over the weekend actually that Goldman Sachs apparently was rejoicing over the money it was going to make while the mortgage market was collapsing. While you and I and people all across the country were suffering, Goldman Sachs executives were leaping with joy that they were going to make millions of dollars. I also learned in reading a newspaper called The Hill, which is a newspaper in Capitol Hill, that Goldman Sachs has spent about $18 million over the last decade, essentially to buy votes in Congress. And the upshot of this article was Goldman Sachs isn't worrying because it's invested enough money to successfully fight the charges that the government has leveled against it. You know, that's a nice way of saying they've bought our politicians, lock, stock, and barrel. And that's why today I'm renewing my call again to Kirsten Gillibrand to give back the money she's taken from Goldman Sachs. I'm also renewing my call to the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee to give back every single dime that it has collected from Goldman Sachs. Politicians have to be held to a higher standard than whether someone is guilty in a court of law or not. I am not saying that Goldman Sachs is guilty. They have a right to have a fair trial. However, the allegations are very strong, and voters need to know that their politicians are clean. Voters need to know that their politicians are holding themselves to a higher standard. This legalized corruption is intolerable, and Kirsten Gillibrand must return that money to make sure there's not a taint or a hint of impropriety going on with Goldman Sachs. So I'm calling again on my opponent to give back the money, reassure voters that she is not, her vote is not for sale, and she can only do that by giving back the money. And I'm also calling on both political parties to cleanse themselves of the money from Goldman Sachs. We should not be questioning whether our politicians are for sale. This needs to stop now. Give the money back now.